Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle podcast, the place where expert-based business owners learn how to build momentum, avoid burnout, and create sustainable success on their own terms. I'm your host, Rob Tracy, strength and conditioning specialist turned founder and CEO of Prime Performance Coaching, the personal performance strategy firm for high-achieving business owners and operators. I partner with driven entrepreneurs to implement the Prime Performance process, an awareness-based operating system that's helped me and countless solopreneurs and small business owners evolve from just being high performers on the edge of burnout to prime performers building sustainable success. The impact of Prime Performance process has led me here, where I'll show you how to get unstuck and design your own Prime Performance life without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity. So whether you're hustling after hours or scaling your passion project, today and here you're going to get real stories, science-backed strategies, and practical frameworks to help you excel every step of your journey. It's time. Let's get intentional, build momentum, and become prime performers together. We'll get started just after this message. If you're an ambitious business owner or side hustler who's ready for a breakthrough, tired of spinning your wheels, looking to slide past burnout and build real momentum, I'd love to invite you to book a free Prime Performance strategy session with me or one of our strategists. This is your chance to get personalized insight on what's been holding you back and get a clear path to move forward. No fluff, just actionable strategy. So if you're interested, visit survivingthesidehustle.com/free call to request your spot now. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Looking forward to helping you become a prime performer. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. I'm excited to dive into today's conversation because on today's show, we've got Kennedy, and he's got an interesting background. He was telling me previously how he started in the world of stand-up comedy and where he was reading minds and he blended psychology and performance. Kennedy now helps entrepreneurs do the same thing and helping them really like turn leads into paying clients through automation, converting high converting email systems. And just his story here is of a true side hustle evolution, full of risk, reinvention, and resilience. So Kennedy, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Rob, it's so good to see you again. I'm so excited to get into this and share this with everybody.
Yeah, me too. And what really caught my attention when we first connected was a bit about your unique story. So stand-up comedy is pretty interesting. You were telling me about mind reading and body language and all this stuff. So how did that world shape how you think about business today?
Right. So basically, I was a nosy kid. I was probably a paranoid kid. Like, what does everybody else think of me as a teenager? Like, what do they really think? Does everybody hate me? Why am I the last one picked for the sports teams at school? And so I got really interested in human behavior and understanding what makes people tick. Why do they make decisions? How do I influence those decisions? And how do I read people? And then I ended up combining that skill of reading people and influencing people with comedy, because I just love comedy. I love it. And I ended up traveling the world, performing at conferences for corporations like Yahoo and Mars and all these corporations, Mercedes-Benz, all these lovely, fantastic companies, literally all over the world. On 7-star cruise ships, which I didn't even know there was such a thing as 7 stars, right? Because I'm not from that world at all. I'm just a guy who grew up with 2 parents. My mum worked 2 jobs. My dad worked 3 jobs just to make ends meet and give me and my younger sister a lifestyle where we could all get along. And so the fact that I was like flying around the world and on these cruise ships where I got to go to Antarctica, where I got to go to Singapore, where I got to like all these ridiculous places all around the world was amazing. And so yeah, I'm there on stage performing for all like celebrities or corporations and these really big companies. And I'm combining psychology. I'm combining, and when you're on stage, when you're standing in front of a group of people, and you're going to make them laugh, and you've got to make it look like you're quote unquote reading people's minds, when I'm using influence skills, I'm using psychology and persuasion skills, those skills have got to work. Like, if you don't get the sale and you're a salesperson because the psychology didn't work, okay, you move on to the next call, you do the next, you knock on the next door. If you're standing on stage and you have 5 industrial staple guns and one of them is loaded and the others are empty and they're all being fired into your face, and your job is to distinguish using the person's body language which one they loaded, you've got to get it right. And you've got to get it right every night. Otherwise, you don't have a career and you might not have eyes. And I'm very lucky to say that despite, with age, deteriorating eyesight, I've never ended up with a staple in the face. So that's kind of what's really interesting about anything we do in our lives. It's when the consequences are high, you very quickly become very good or you die. Right?
Yeah.
I remember once I used to coach entertainers, and I remember there was a magician who was learning to palm coins. You know how magicians like sneakily hide things in their hands.
Yeah.
And I said, "You're the best at palming coins I've ever seen. How did you get good at this?" And he said, "I learned to palm coins standing above a drain. Because if you drop the coin, it goes down the drain." So the consequence was high. So he got really good at palming coins. Like, so if there's a lot of jeopardy in us with any skill, I think we become good at it. But I digress. So I remember, so what happened was I started getting asked by other entertainers, magicians, mind readers, comedians, jugglers, musicians, how are you booking all these gigs? How are you so busy? And also, how are you charging such high fees? I was in that sort of higher echelon of fees. And I said, well, I'm just sort of doing these things. And I basically ended up starting a coaching program. I started a coaching program where I was helping other entertainers because it was heartbreaking to me that I was meeting these really amazing men and women from around the world who had fantastic skills. They'd worked really hard at their skill, but they couldn't feed their family with it. They couldn't support a lifestyle with it. And it broke my heart. I was like, I'm out here doing these things. I've worked really hard on my skill. You can do this too. So I started a coaching program, which I would literally run from my laptop when I'm waiting in the departure lounge to fly to Kuala Lumpur, or I'm in the hotel when I land in Madrid, or when I'm in the taxi with my laptop open, tethering from my phone when I'm getting to my hotel in Las Vegas. And I'm running this entire coaching program by literally sending emails, growing an email list, and making it work from there. Excuse me, I have this awful cold. I'm sure you'll just cut that out, or we can leave the embarrassing sneeze in. I don't mind. So I'm literally running this whole business, and I added an extra multiple, just under multiples. Like basically, I was adding about $150,000 extra to my annual income running this. It was a membership, and then they could upgrade and have personal coaching with me. And it was literally a case of me going on all these skills I use on stage to influence people, to get attention and keep attention from a group of people. I'm just applying them now in written form through my Aweber account. That was the only email marketing platform pretty much around at the time. Some of you may have heard of that, may remember it. They're still around. They're still doing a great job, by the way. It's a great platform. I started doing that. And I was loving it. Like, I just thought it was the most amazing thing that I could type some words on a keyboard from my laptop, from some hotel room, or from my bed if I'm at home, or while I'm waiting for something else, send it, and money would come back in return. Like, that was like, it was like actual magic. Never mind palming a coin or something like that. It was just I was like, this is crazy. And then I remember I toured the world for about 15 years. I'm 42 this year. And I did that for like 15, 17 years, something like that, just under 20 years. And I remember I was flown to the island of Madeira, right? And I get there, and they drive me, and they pick me up from the airport. They drive me to my hotel, and I check into my room because I'm gonna do an event later that evening. And I sat on the end of the bed, and there was like a mirror opposite the end of the bed. And I just looked at myself, and I broke down into floods of tears. It almost like, when it swells up inside you and it just all comes out of you at once. And I just looked at myself and I literally muttered the words to myself while staring at my red eyes in the mirror. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'd missed birthdays, funerals, weddings of my entire family, of different members of my family, right? And I realized that I was really just ever so alone. Even though you walk on stage and there might be 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people laughing or cheering, and you do something funny or you do something amazing, they all go, wow. And at the end of it, they give you a standing ovation. You walk off stage and there's people there saying, hey, can I take a photo? Hey, can I take a photo? And that lasts, the show's 45 minutes. There's maybe 30 minutes of celebrity, shall we call it, within the room, not real celebrity, of course. And then you are just alone again. And that up and down of going from adored to anonymous is really, really, really difficult psychologically for pretty much everybody. And then adding to the fact that I'd missed, family members' funerals was the one that really, really got to me. Like, I just wasn't there at the end of some important people in my lives. And so I was like, what am I going to do? And that's when I started sort of talking more about business and email marketing, and some other business events kept saying to me, hey, would you come and speak at this business event about your marketing stuff? And initially I couldn't because I was just touring. I was out there. I was booked up. I was always booked up like 18 months in advance was the way that I used to do it, for the most part. And then I started saying yes to these, will you speak at this event in the UK or in Europe? And then some things in the US started coming up as well. And I started saying yes to them. And I started talking about marketing and specifically the stuff I was doing in my emails, because I really love and I'm really enamored by the fact that I can type some words from literally anywhere between any other task in a few minutes, and sales come in, or inquiries come in, or bookings come in, or applications come in. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're selling a high ticket thing or a low ticket thing, you can do it by email. And what I realized I had done is, because when I was coaching other entertainers, if you think about the market size, people in marketing and business now, I know it these days, I know it as a thing called TAM, T-A-M, which stands for Total Addressable Market. How many people are there who could buy what you sell, who could engage your skills that you've been refining? And what I realized was I'd accidentally stumbled into a really small market, a sub-market of a market. Because if you think about, if most of my clients were like magicians, and I'm talking about family entertainers, I'm talking about people who would do stage shows and everything in between, close-up magicians, all kinds of magicians all over the world, Europe, US, Canada, Australia, UK, literally all over the world, lots of different languages across Asia. But I realized, even though I had a global audience, because I was sending emails to just anybody who happened to be awake when I sent them, I realized there's a bunch of people who want to learn magic tricks and just learn them. And then there's a smaller bunch of people who want to then do those magic tricks in front of other people. But then there's an even smaller, much smaller group of people who actually want to make that their profession and either have a significant side hustle, weekend or evenings gig doing magic or mind reading or whatever, or actually have it as a full-time thing that would support their family. And so I realized I had by far the biggest list in the niche. And I'm talking probably 4 times the size of anybody else. And in the whole of like teaching magic and doing magic and stuff. And my list was 8,000 people. Imagine if that is the whopper list in the market. So I had to get good at converting people. And I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking, I've got to get good at converting because it's a small list. I was like, I've got 8,000 people. That's loads of people, because 8,000 people is a lot of people. Like, if you walked into a room of 8,000 people, if you walk into a room of 100 people, believe me, if you go in and told to be funny in front of 100 people, you're nervous before every gig. It doesn't matter if it's your first gig or your 300th gig. You're nervous. It's 100 real, live, living, breathing people who are going to clap or they're not going to clap. It is that simple. I mean, I'm pretty sure you'd be nervous if I said to you, Rob, hey, we're going to go into this room, we're going to do a live presentation. Even if you don't have to be funny, before you go in and give that talk, you're going to have some feelings in your tummy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So 8,000 people is a lot of people. I didn't know that it was a potentially very small market. So what I did is I just developed techniques. I was like, great. So this month we did this and we made this amount of money. That's cool. What we're going to do next month is sell more stuff to these people. And basically, I accidentally got really good at earning maximum money from my email list. Not because I tried to, and not because I was like, hey, I'm really clever. None of that. None of that's true. What it was that's what I had in front of me. Right? So I was like, I'm just making money. And it turns out when you then apply those skills to any other market, magicians are skeptical because they think they know all the tricks of the trade. They want to see the trick in everything. They're super hyper skeptical people and can be pretty mean too. So when you apply that stuff to any other niche, my word, does it work like a treat. As long as you understand the market like you have to, as long as you understand what their pain points are, which you have to in every market. And that's how I got really, really good at the bit that everybody doesn't talk about, which is actually converting leads. So many people talk about here's how you build your audience, and then here's how you get people onto your email list, lead magnets and newsletters and all these different things we all hear about. But there's this sticky middle. There's this weird bit in the middle where you go, yeah, but can you convert them? Because the good news when you convert the leads is that's when you get paid. And
Yeah.
that's the bit that I accidentally got good at. And I'll be dead honest with you, I'm not very good at the rest of it. It's the only bit that I'm good at.
Wow. Yeah. So it's a great thing that that is the only part that you got good at, because without that, then probably wouldn't be talking, or you would probably be somewhere else in the world, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I might still be lonely, traveling the world, going, great, I'll tell those jokes again tonight, and new people will laugh at them and they'll think it's great. And I'll be so terrified of changing anything that's in my act because it might not be as good as what I've always been doing. And that's the thing with any of us, with any kind of change, but also afraid of change because if what we're doing right now is working or it's comfortable, and we're worried about changing it. And that was exactly the situation I was in. So that's how I got good at this stuff.
So just to kind of bring us back through a little bit here. So you're going around the country, around the world, I guess,
Mm.
presenting. Then how did you even start to grow your list of these other entertainers, just from connecting with people around the world, or?
Here's a funny story. So I had this idea, and this is about 15 years ago ish. Definitely more than a decade ago. It's got to be 15 years. I had this idea that when someone joins my email list, if I could get them to tell 2 or 3 other people they know to come and join my email list, my list would grow really quickly. So I went on to it was called Odesk at the time, I think. It's called like Upwork or Freelancer. It changed its name to one of those platforms, one of the freelancing websites. And I hired this guy. I affectionately call him Miserable Chris. And Miserable Chris was this amazing, miserable American guy who was a software developer. He was like a web developer. And I said to Chris, I want this tool where someone joins my email list. And by the way, this is one of those things which is really common now, but like you couldn't do it. Like because I'm a creative person, I was like, this is how I'm going to do it. So when they join my email list, on the next page, I'm going to have a video of me. And I'm going to say, hey, you just downloaded my report on how to increase your prices by 200%. I can't remember what the exact lead magnet was, but let me just say it was this. By how to increase your lead magnet, your price by 200%. But I've got this full video training on how to actually add upsell so people will pay you more and all these other things. Now, I could sell it to you on this page for like $100, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, you can get it for free. All you've got to do is I've given you a special unique sharing link right below this video. And if you share it with 2 or 3 or 4 of your friends, as soon as 3 people come through your link, I'll automatically email you the extra training. I created this viral list building thing, and it took weeks and months of me trying to get a software developer to understand what I was trying to do, and him saying, I think you should do this. I'm like, I don't care about that. Back and forth. And it worked. And I went from literally like a couple of hundred subscribers to just over 8 record time. I'm talking probably 6 weeks. just because that was new. Like these days, we've all kind of seen that technology, but then if you've got that first mover advantage and it's novel and people aren't jaded to getting onto people's email list, of course, it was of the time. That's how I did it.
So that exploded, and then because you essentially captured all of your market, as you were
Yeah.
saying,
I was like,
and
do you know? And I was even saying things like, put it on your, because Facebook, I think, was just coming out there, or MySpace was around, or something like that, or send an email or a text to a friend. Like, and this is the time when people would email links to each other and go, hey, dude, you should do this.
yeah,
Imagine if you or I received it. Like, if I sent you an email saying, dude, you should register for this, you'd be like, what is wrong with you, Kennedy?
yeah.
But back in the
Someone got
day,
hacked.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a bit like, when people used to jokes, dirty jokes around the office. It was the time. It was the time.
So, okay, so now you had this and you developed this product to be teaching essentially copywriting, right? Or is it a sequence or a
No,
funnel?
I was at the time just teaching everything to do with how do you build a system that would get you booked more gigs. It was every
Oh,
piece of
okay.
like building a marketing. My first product was called Gig Flow, and I think it was 69 British pounds, which is about $97. And I'll tell you what the product was. It was so simple. I realized that there was an integration between PayPal and Aweber you could set up. So when somebody bought something through PayPal, it would send a little something over, something I didn't understand, but now I know is an API, right? As an API call, but it's something goes over, and they would get put onto a particular list. And every day for 28 days, they got an email. And it was basically an e-course. So each day, hey, day one, today I want you to decide on what your brand name is going to be. Here's how you do that. Tomorrow I'm going to show you what to do with it. The next day, they get the next building block. And by the end of 28 days, they have a whole marketing system. And they loved it. They loved it. So I sell that. And then some people email me going, this is amazing. What do I do next? And I'm like, no, that's it. That's what you should do. That's everything you need to do. And they're like, no, I want some help. And I'm like, okay. So I ended up developing a membership, and it was called the Entrepreneur Performers Inner Circle, Epic. And it was a physical print magazine that we sent out to people all over the world. I hired a team of local virtual assistants who were like really, really local to me. And these two women, this woman and her daughter, would handwrite the envelopes that they would go out in, because I wanted to have this real, and it was $150 a month to be a member of this. And they got a Q&A call with me each month, a training from me each month online on Zoom. I think it wouldn't have been Zoom back then, I don't think. Maybe it was.
Probably
I can't
Skype.
remember. Maybe Skype, something. Yeah, one of those. Then, yeah, and then a physical newsletter would come through the mail each month with articles, and I would write some of the articles, and I had a couple of other people who I knew, who were doing really cool stuff, who were specialists, and like there's a guy who was a really good guy at trade shows and performing at trade shows and stuff like that. So yeah, we did that, and yeah, we ended up with a bunch of members, and that's when it really hit the sort of $150,000 dollar a year extra side hustle while I was just between gigs, really.
I love it. I love it. And then so as that continued to grow and evolve, and were you still doing gigs, or when did you like decide to kind of shift gears, I guess?
Yeah, so I never stopped doing gigs until 3 years ago from now, really. I just got sick of traveling all the time and I just wasn't enjoying it and all that sort of stuff. The only kind of gigs I do now is I do speaking at conferences and well, not awards, and conferences and stuff to do with marketing now. But yeah, I was still performing, and then I got to a point where I didn't love it anymore. I didn't love teaching other performers how to grow their businesses. I felt like I'd said everything that needed to be said. Of course, this was just before AI happened, so I'd have loads to say now, I'm sure, because it's changing so quickly. But I really was like, I've said everything. I've shown you how to make a good show reel. I've shown you how to put a good website together. Like I've shown them all this stuff, all the different ads platforms. And I was like, I just don't love it anymore. I was really thinking, I'm not scraping the barrel yet with my knowledge, but I can see in a couple of months I'm going to be really having to push for what to teach these people. And I didn't think it was fair to take money from people when I didn't love what I was doing anymore. And I felt like I was also running out of what I might teach them. So I just said, hey, we're going to be closing down. You won't receive any more physical newsletters from this date. You'll continue to have access to the digital stuff for another, I think we give them 4 months or something like that, of no billing, but they just continue to have access to it, just because I think it's important to help people as much as I can. And then I closed it all down. Meanwhile, I was building Email Marketing Heroes, this business that I run now, when we help entrepreneurs, people with a side hustle, people who are doing a full-time thing, who are basically selling their expertise and some packaging, services, products, courses, coaching, memberships. And then I started building this business where we do that, and phased out the entrepreneur performers in a circle. We phased that out, and so I could focus completely on this.
Oh, and so that's what you've been doing these past few years here. And how has that kind of journey been? Is it like, because you're basically starting not essentially from zero, but you're still starting in a whole different world?
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the things I realized and then sort of forgot, and I've re-realized in the last 12 months, is each of us has spent all of our life up to this point refining and getting better at something. And so my something was talking, speaking, giving presentations. And so I realized that I should take advantage of that advantage I'd already created for myself. It's not luck that I have this skill. I started off really bad on stage, and I just got increasingly less crap at it. That's kind of all that happened, right? We're just every day trying to get less crap. That's all we're trying to do. At email marketing, at speaking, at being on a podcast, at being a human, being a friend, being a partner, we're just trying to be less crap every day. That really takes the pressure off when you realize that. And I realized early on, well, look, I'm really good on stage. Like I get nervous before I walk on stage, but that really is adrenaline, and that is you get nervous before you do anything because you care. That's the reason that we get nervous. And so I thought, well, I'm really good at being on stage, so why don't I be on stage? So I started talking at anything. Literally, I came up with a topic and I was like reaching out to podcasts. This was about 9 years ago, eight years ago, sorry. And I was like, hey, I've got this principle about email marketing. It was something very specific. It was something a little bit, not controversial, but a little bit different to what everyone else was saying. Can I come on your podcast? Can I come on your podcast? And when they asked me to, there was a little video that went with it so they could see I was a good communicator. And I had a good setup. I had a pretty good microphone of the time. I had a good camera of the time. It all looked very good. So I got invited on a lot of podcasts. Then I got invited on stages in the market. And that's really how I started building it up. And then since then, I've written the book, Psych-Stacked Email Marketing, which you mentioned earlier, and built a membership, built programs, and built a mastermind around it.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. It's me, Rob, and I hope you're enjoying today's conversation. But I wanted to remind you, if you're a driven entrepreneur or an expert-based business owner who wants to get unstuck, create sustainable momentum, and really start moving forward, I've got a free resource just for you. You can download my 5 keys to clarity and momentum. It's a PDF guide. It's a quick read, and it'll help you cut through the noise, clarify your next steps, and start building the systems that you need for sustainable success. So if you're new here, or if you haven't grabbed it yet, this is the first step to applying these principles in your own journey. So head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/5 keys and download your free copy today. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/5 keys. So I love that. And I love the progression from your just everything you've kind of gone through. And I know you had mentioned earlier about how a lot of other people out there are always talking about trying to like focus on growing the audience, growing like the network, and then get better at the conversions. Is there like a sweet spot, or like should most people just be like, all right, as soon as you have one person on your email list, you got to work on just converting that one person?
Here's the problem with just building your email list. So if you build your email list, if you build your database, if you think about your own behavior, the best way to understand other humans is to not think about them as other people, because that has a real disconnect. Think about your behavior for a second, your own personal behavior as you're listening to this. When you join someone's email list, why are you doing it, first of all? You're doing it because you've got a problem that you want to solve. You're not joining someone's email list because you want more emails in your inbox, right? You're not like emails, they're like Pokemon. I gotta catch them all. Like that's not how emails work anymore. Back in the day, it was novel. I remember there's a marketing legend called Dan Kennedy, and he's like the OG of direct response marketing. I remember I got an email from Dan, over a decade ago, probably almost close to 2 decades ago. And it said, "Hey, Kennedy, blah, 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 blah." I was like, holy shit, Dan Kennedy's emailing me. Hey, Dan, I'm a big fan. He didn't have a freaking clue who I was, obviously. He just merged my name. And I was like, this is amazing. But we're all less, we're all much, much more jaded than that now. And so, yeah. So what was the point we were talking about before I got excited about that strange situation? We were talking about
like conversions and like how, like, is it important to kind of build the
right? Yeah. So you think about your own behavior. You join someone's email list because you got a problem. Okay. So let me say my problem is I want to know how to backpack through Australia because I'm going to go backpacking around Australia. I want to know how to do it good. All right, let's imagine that's the problem I'm trying to solve. So I start looking around. It's not going to be very long before Zuckerberg and the other guys all start serving me ads about things that I can sign up for that are going to help me to do that. So I click on the ad and I sign up for the newsletter to get the 22 things you need to know before you backpack around Australia. The most cliche of all lead magnets ever, right? Yeah. So I sign up for the damn thing. So the first thing we have to realize is everyone who joins your email list is there because they've got a problem they want to solve. It might be lose weight. It might be backpack around Australia. It might be I want to convert more of my leads. It's whatever you solve people with. It might be I want to learn how to crochet whatever. It might be I want to learn. We've got a client who helps people to teach us tap dancing online, right? You name it, we've got it. So that's why they're on your list. Now think about your behavior of what you do next. You sign up for the person's newsletter, or you sign up for the lead magnet, you're on their list, and the first email you get from them, you read it. The second email you get from them, you might read it. But the 6th, 7th, 10th, 15th email, you might skip that one. And then you might read the next one. And then you might skip one. And every day that goes by, every single person's attention is dropping. People talk about email open rates. And you say, when you send an email, what percentage of people opened those emails? You can look in your email marketing platform, it will show you. You look into your Go High Level account. You look in your MailChimp account, your Active Campaign account, and you see you have a 30% open rate. What is open rate? Open rate is attention rate. 30% of people are still listening to you. You've lost 70% of the attention of your list. Why has that happened? Natural human behavior. So every day that goes by, the attention chart of each person who come onto your list is dropping, dropping, dropping. A new person joins tomorrow, they're on 100% attention, but each day it's dropping, dropping, dropping on this timeline. So there's 2 different ways you can solve this problem. One is the thing we've all been taught to do with email marketing, and it's the hardest thing to do, which is try and use tricks in your email marketing to stretch out how much attention they're going to give you. Put a cliffhanger at the end of your email. They call it open loops in psychology. Tease them at the end. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to show you this thing. Or watch out for next week's email. I'm going to do this. It has such an incremental impact on the number of opens you get and that the extension of the attention. The impact is incremental. Worse than that is, yes, the impact is incremental, but the effort to try and get that tiny impact is high. So it's high effort, low reward. That sounds terrible to me.
Yeah.
Right? But we're all being taught doing it. Instead, what I teach my students to do with my way of doing email marketing is take full advantage of the 100% attention when you have it. Make an offer when they first join your email list. Because you've paid for 100 subscribers to join your email list in some way, through effort, through that podcast you were on, through that summit you were in, through that bundle you were part of, through those ads you ran, through effort, through time, or through money. You've paid for 100% of those leads. 100% of people come onto your list. But if you don't sell to them If you don't make an offer to them until you're getting a 50% open rate, your cost per lead literally just doubled. That's a crazy thought.
Yeah.
You go, oh, I'm really happy with my cost per lead. It's only $10. What's your open rate? Percent. It's 20. In real money, it's $20. Whereas if I make an offer when I've got 100%, let's go wild. Let's say it's only 80%. Then I'm still almost double the attention that someone who's waiting is getting. And on the converse side, because I always like to think about it from our point of view, but more importantly, think about it from your subscriber's point of view. What's the psychology of our email subscriber? Well, someone's joined your email list. They've signed up for a free gift because they want to find out about what it is that you do and how you help people. They've joined because they need help. So look, if I'm outdoors and I'm doing some work around the garden and I've got a chainsaw, I'm that kind of guy. I've got a chainsaw and I have a horrendous accident where I cut off one of my legs with the chainsaw and it's like flapping about and there's blood everywhere and I hop into the emergency room and I really need help. I don't want the surgeon coming out saying, hey, let me tell you about how I got into medicine. You see, my parents were both physicians. And you're like, dude, I'm going to bleed out on the floor. Fix the problem. And that's what most people do with their email marketing. They nurture their subscribers until they bleed out on the floor. They came to you because they've got a problem. Solve the problem for them. Show them there is hope. Show them there is a different way to what they've tried before. Because if the other ways they tried before worked, they wouldn't be there. Everyone who comes into your world is coming to you because they've tried already to solve that problem. And it's failed, and it's failed, and it's failed. And they're losing faith. They're losing hope. If you show up on those emails when they see your list, they're going, oh, when they join your list, they're seeing you as the beacon of hope. Maybe this time, maybe this is the person who can actually help me with my hair loss, with my lawn, with my relationship, with my fat loss journey. Maybe this person can. And when they join your list, let them know how you can best help them. And I don't know about you, but the best way I can help somebody, even though I put out really good YouTube content on my email marketing show YouTube channel. I put up really good content on my Instagram. I go and deliver really good content in groups. My best stuff has a system that has the best results is in my paid programs. That's how I can really help people, because when people invest, they also emotionally invest, which means they pay attention and they're more likely to take action. We're going to have to sell to people for their own good. Great way of thinking about this is how many times you've been scrolling through Instagram or one of your platforms or Facebook, whatever, and you've bought one of those $37 little mini courses, right? Loads. I bought loads of them. How many of you implemented? None. But if they charge $5,000 for that thing, would you have implemented it? Yes, sir. Why? Because we have to associate the cost of admission with effort. The reason people celebrate when they get to the top of Mount Everest is because it was really fucking hard to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was just like, oh, there's a lift straight up, no one would give a shit. There wouldn't be any motivational speakers talking about the time they had to chew off their own thumb to get to the top of Everest. We wouldn't care because there was no effort involved. And it's the same with our list. They come into our list, they got a problem. Our best solution is in our paid offers. Tell them about it while we've got all of their attention, and we help more people and we give them hope. Even the ones who don't buy at that point, we've shown them there is hope because a solution actually does exist. So it helps everybody. And coming back around to your business, as you're listening to this and putting this all together and going, okay, this is a very different approach to email marketing. Yeah, it is. It literally goes against everything we've ever been taught. But the problem is, what we've been taught in general is all about nurture, nurture, nurture for a long time. And the people who are saying give lots of value and nurture for a long time, notice they've got very deep pockets and very big bank balances. They can afford to nurture for a long time. I'm talking about a business here that we have, that our clients have, where when I spend money, When I put my ads on my credit card, I want to pay that credit card off in 30 days before American Express can charge me any interest, before it comes out of my personal bank account. So if you're able to have a system that's in place when someone joins your email list and within 30 days they can buy from you, you just solved your lead generation problem. Because I know if I spend 10 grand to bring leads into my list, and if I know I can turn that into 20 grand, if I can turn that into 10 and a half grand within 30 days, I never have a lead problem again. I just turn it up and I can bring more people in. The number one reason people turn off Facebook ads when they've tried them is because they're like, I'm running out of money or I'm wasting money. Imagine so the problem is if you do list growth before you have the conversion mechanism in place, you can't continue doing list growth.
Yeah. Because it just cannibalizes all your money. And then
by the time you do come to sell to them, you've lost most of their attention. So your conversion rate is low. So you still don't have enough money to pay for them.
So you're saying the secret is just get them on and send an offer out immediately?
Yeah. And send an offer out immediately obviously do it in a cool way. Don't be like, hey, in you come, let's go. I mean, some businesses do that. Actually, they do very well at that. We don't. The thing is, get them on, tell them what your offer is. Hey, if you're in this position, like the stats are between 3 and 5% of the people you bring into your audience are what's called in market. That's what the market is called. In market. It means they're ready to buy now. They're in so much pain that they're in so much turmoil that they need the solution right now. Hand them the money. That's the weird thing. If there's 3 to 5% of people who join your email list, for every 100 people you bring in, there are, let's say, just 3 people on the low end, 3 people who want to buy from you right now. What have we all been taught to do? We've been told to nurture and not sell to those people. That's insane. We're actually being told to snub the people who are running to the front with money in their hands, ready to hand it to you and go, no, you can't buy right now because I'm busy nurturing. It's fucking madness.
I love that. Come back on day 9, then I can sell it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you can't buy now. But I need your help. My relationship's about to end, or I'm whatever. My relationship's going to end. I'm going to, whatever outcome someone's going to have. And that's not okay. And the other piece of the puzzle really is nurture them for longer. Like, not nurture them. Don't nurture them. Sell to them for longer. Most people, look, in England, we drink a lot of tea, right? Obviously, it's a cliche, but it's true. I have about 6 cups of tea a day. While you're all jacked up on your coffee, we're jacked up on tea. And if you ever made a cup of tea, you don't take a tea bag, dip it in the water and pull it straight back out again, because the tea will not be very strong and it will not be very potent. So why do we just mention our offer for just a few short days and then move on to another offer or sending them content? Leave the tea bag in for longer. Let the message sink in. Let it become strong.
I love that. And it's so funny too, because I was just having a conversation with a group of individuals, and this one woman was talking about how she started having a conversation with a potential lead, and they've been friends or connected for months, and the potential lead didn't even know that she did what she was trying to sell. And we were saying, like, probably don't share or don't talk about it, or if you do, it's like it's buried under one post and you never post about it again.
Here's a funny story. So we have a campaign that after we've talked about our offer for a bunch of times, say 2 or 3 weeks, we sent out a campaign which we call the interrogator campaign, just to be dramatic, right? And basically, but it's not very confrontational at all, but it just makes it stick in your mind, the interrogator. And basically, we send a 1-question survey. Hey, dear name, or hey name, I've noticed I've been telling you about my program. It's called the Automated Email Engine. On paper, it looks like you'd be a great person who could get great results from this and you really need our help, but I've noticed you've not enrolled yet. Do me a huge favor. I've put together a 1-question survey on the following page. It's just a checky box. Please just let me know what's happening for you. It will really help me. Honestly, guys, send that freaking email. On the next page, the question is simply, why haven't you enrolled in the name of the program? Why haven't you applied for a call? Why haven't you bought the thing? Why haven't you booked our service? So in my case, why haven't you enrolled in the Automated Email Engine? And we had a bunch of radio buttons. They could choose one. And it was like, I feel like I can't afford it right now. I'm not sure it'll be correct for my business. all these things. And we ran that campaign to the list, and we got inundated with replies from people who said, my response that I want to pick is not there. So I said to my assistant, find out what they want to say. And the response that we now have as the number one top response that they can choose is, I don't know what it, and it is the number one picked thing. Even though I've been telling them about what the offer is for 2.5 solid weeks every day, they don't know what it is. Why? Because they're busy. They're getting 180 emails a day from other people. They're looking at their TikTok with a gazillion things. They're looking at their Instagram. They're also having a life and sorting out their kids and their finances and that insurance and the tax they've forgotten to pay, and the computer broke down, and now also electricity's got. They're dealing with everyday life. Their cat just puked on the staircase. They're dealing with all this stuff. And your silly little email, of course it didn't get through. They didn't even open most of them. So we have to remember that you are the only person who sees 100% of the content you create. 100% of the emails, 100% of the Instagram posts, 100% of the YouTube videos you make. You're the only person who sees all of them. And not only do you see all of them, but you see them for way longer than anybody else, because you think them up, you then spend all that time making them, and then you do the technical bit of uploading them or sending them. You see all of them, and you see it for, 10 times longer than anybody else does. And you're like, why don't they know what my offer is? It's because it's not that important to them. And so the number one reason that people don't buy your thing is they've forgotten who you are, or they don't at all understand what it is you can help them with. And that's why you're going to talk about your offer for longer, and you're going to talk about what it is you do from lots of different angles, and not always be saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's key. Being able to say what you're trying to say in different ways, and that helps connect with different people, right? Different communication styles and such. So that's super important. Well, so Kennedy, I want to be courteous of our time here. So if somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, dude, this is exactly what I need. Like everybody knows who I am. They don't know what I'm selling. Like, how do I get involved with this? How do people get in touch with you? How do they work with you? What does that even look like?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we've been able to we used to have a coaching program. Here's an additional lesson for everybody who listened to the end, by the way. Bonus lesson. We kept the good stuff till the end. You lucky things, right? We took a coaching program we used to have, which was $77,750, random number, but it ended up being that number. And because of like AI and stuff now, we've been able to train a bunch of individual advanced AIs to basically do that coaching work for people. So, and that's all come into my automated email engine program. So it's now completely self-service, and you do it on your own schedule, and you can build as many of these engines as you want. And it uses 5 different psychological principles to maximize the sales. In fact, for one of my offers, this is interesting, by doing this, I took one of my offers from $27,000, and then to the same audience for the same offer, just by appealing and talking about my offer for longer, 5 different email sequences, each talking to different psychological buyer triggers, we went from 27 grand to just over $500,000. It's like 18x sales. Or doing what most people do, which is just appealing to the first one, which is, hey, you want to buy it now, which is what most people do, and then they move on. If you just do that rather than doing what we're doing, you're leaving 94% of the money still locked in your list and untapped. Isn't that wild? Anyway, that's crazy. It is crazy. So yeah, if you go to emailmarketingheroes.com, you'll be able to have a look at all my content. In the menu, you can see our automated email engine program. Or I do have a course which I can give you guys a free link for. It's called Email Marketing Sorted, and I actually show you that entire process of the 5 different email campaigns. If anybody wants to go and grab a free access to that, go to emailmarketingsorted.com and you can get free access to that. Other thing is, if you really like podcasts and stuff and you want to watch me talk about email marketing every week, you can either go to your podcast player or go to YouTube and search for The Email Marketing Show.
Boom. Nice and easy. Just go over there, add them on YouTube, check out those links, and get involved, get it going, get the systems and engines up and running. So Kennedy, man, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of share a bit about your experience, definitely diving into your insights and some of your strategies on how you handle email marketing and just psychology and everything else too. Really appreciate it because it's opened my mind, very interested in all this stuff. So thank you again for coming on today and sharing.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me, and it's really good to see you as ever.
As always. All right, guys, go check those out and let me know what you think. Peace, 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 peace. That's all for today's episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If you found value here, please don't forget to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. And please create a shared success by helping us share this episode with someone who you think would benefit from today's conversation. And finally, don't forget to connect with us at survivingthesidehustle.com and give us a follow on socials so that we can take part in following along in your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, remember, success doesn't require a complete sacrifice, just strategy, momentum, and the right support.